welcome, everybody. Welcome to my wonderful, esteemed guest today, the wonderful Annette Richmond. Hello, Annette.
Hello, hello. I am so excited to be here. I was so delighted when you invited me. And, I know this is going to be fun because we've already been laughing about before we went live.
We were in the green room, as they
Yes.
call it. Yes, we were getting our setups organised, weren't we? And having a giggle and talking about New York and London and how hot it is actually at the moment. So, Annette, brilliant, lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. I do really value your time. And the first thing I always like to talk about is, can you remember how we found each other on LinkedIn? How we kind of collided? Because I've been trying to think. I can't think of any.
I don't know. It's like we're kind of running in the same circle
Yeah.
of people. And, I've known you, I've been following you, we've been connected for a while. I don't know. I don't know if it was through, mutual friends, but I can't remember either. I just remember, I remember seeing you and starting to follow you. And then we connected. I don't know, not as long as we've kind of known each other. I think have we been connected.
Good point. Yes. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And I love asking that question because it always leads to other conversations. And I think that's one of the beauties of LinkedIn, is that we kind of bump into people, don't we, along our journey. And we don't really necessarily know where they came from, but we just build these relationships with people. And it's wonderful, isn't it?
It is. It's so we were chatting before we went live about since I live close to New York, you were, in London, that I met a bunch of people that I've met on LinkedIn and met them in the city last year, and we'll be meeting them again. But I'm curious too. I know that I met a lot of the people that I now know who are my friends on LinkedIn originally on Clubhouse. Now, I don't know if I don't think we crossed paths there, but I do find that so many people that I know now that I'm friendly with, I met originally on Clubhouse and then and that's kind of what led me to LinkedIn, because I really wasn't, I've had an account for years, but I wasn't active there. And then I was in this new space and I was meeting all these LinkedIn people. I stumbled into a big room on LinkedIn like every morning and, had no work, nothing to do. And then I found out, oh, these people are on LinkedIn. Let me go over there. And so I went over there and I kind of already knew people. And so that I would say that Clubhouse, although I don't go there any longer, is what brought me really to being active on LinkedIn. So kind of a roundabout story there.
That's it. Really interesting, because I was having this exact conversation with somebody yesterday
Okay.
about Clubhouse. Well, it was a client actually, and we were talking. I was trying to get them to embrace the whole idea of having an audio room as part of their marketing strategy, and which I think is, I think audio rooms are great, and I'm trying to encourage more and more people to do them. And I said, it's like Clubhouse. And then we got chatting and blah, blah, blah. And I said exactly the same. I met so many people in Clubhouse that have now, or were from, over here on LinkedIn. And we've brought all these relationships over to LinkedIn. It's brilliant. I love it.
I do as well. I do as well. And, I'm the same way. I like audio. I do LinkedIn lives like you pretty much weekly, but I do audio once a month. My pal Jillian and we do one audio room a month. I finally convinced her. And it's so much fun because the audio is really more of the conversation. I mean, here it's really the two of us, which is fun, but you do get more of having people to come in and join your conversation on audio. And I'm working with a group right now too, and encouraging the idea of audio. Plus, you don't have to worry about doing hair and makeup. You don't have to worry about
that. That is so true.
That be in your pajamas.
You can be whatever you like. I know. And I remember it. Okay, I'm going to tell you a secret. Some people know this, but not many. when I was in lockdown, when I was on spending a lot of time on Clubhouse, because it was, what else was there to do, you know? We actually bought a hot tub during lockdown, one of these blow up ones.
Mhm.
And I used to sit in my hot tub on Clubhouse.
Oh, hey, I hear you. So I will tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody. I used to be on Clubhouse when I was in the shower. I'd have the phone on and I'd be listening to it while I'm taking a shower. So, but again, don't tell anybody. I don't,
No,
and I won't share your secret either.
no, your secret's safe with me, Annette. Don't you worry. So, Annette, you're very, very big into content
Mhm.
on LinkedIn, and you talk a lot about trust.
Mhm.
And I love that. I absolutely love that you talk about trust, because it's such an important part of what we do as part of the buying or selling process, isn't it? It's really
Mhm.
important. So why would you say that LinkedIn is such a great place to build that trust?
Well, I love how you began that, the idea of content marketing for sales and business. Now, I know that I believe that the people that we know, we try to share content that is valuable to people, whether you work with us or you don't. But we're also, I mean, I'm not here, I'm not wealthy. I'm not here just as a hobby either. So the content marketing is all, it is sort of in that line. And, I think you're aware, I don't know anyone who's not aware of the idea of the know, like, and trust factor, how important that is. And one of the things is, say, with referrals, that's why referrals are so great. If someone refers somebody to me, they usually work with me because they already have that trust built on the relationship that we have mutually with someone. And, so sharing high quality content is a good way to, show your expertise, also to help people realize that, okay, sounds like maybe this person knows what they're talking about. And I feel that they're helping me. And when you have engaging content like videos and carousels and things like that, and I thought it was interesting that I was doing some research, some work on LinkedIn recently, and they said that videos 5 times more than other content will start conversations. So, you have that engaging content and it helps to build up the no factor. And then the trust sort of comes along with that. If you see it time after time after time, that eventually, you've heard the 7 of sales. It takes people 7 times to see your brand. The LinkedIn number is like 10 types of content, or 10 times, seeing and interacting with your content for them to want to be, working with you. And so that's what a lot of it is. And, the idea of sharing valuable content that, again, shows your expertise, but also helps the people that you want to work with. So I hope that's kind of a long-winded answer.
It is a long-winded answer, but it's a process, isn't it? Building up trust with people is a process, and it's really interesting your stats that you said about how many touch points we need. I've just come off a call with one of the marketers at an agency called Ice Blue Sky here in the UK, and their recent research has identified that we now need up to 27
Oh,
touch points.
wow. Okay.
And we were talking about why this number's gone up. And I think this is really recent. And I think it's just because we are bombarded with so much content now. It's like,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
whacking us in the face all the time. So to have 27, I mean, I would really like to think that I could convert somebody to buy from me in less than 27 meetings, but or less than 27 touch points, which
What
is very
y
good thing.
y I was listening to a video where someone was talking about that, and the guy referenced buying a car. If you're buying a car, you've been thinking about it for a while.
Mm.
You're not sitting down and researching online with a spreadsheet. What about this car, that car? I, the last time I bought a car was a few years ago, but I kind of knew already what I wanted. I knew the 3 brands that I wanted to look at. I knew kind of what I was looking for because I had seen them. I had seen commercials. I knew people that had, I have a Kia. I knew someone who actually bought a Kia already. And so I had that going. And it is kind of this thing where, it builds up over time. I have heard, and I'm curious to what you hear, that for several times, people don't even see. I mean, they don't even see it's like in their mind, but they don't actually see it.
That's really interesting, actually. That's a really interesting point. Do they know it's there? They know that you're talking about, they know kind of what you're talking about, but do they actually stop and read it? Well, there's a thought. But still, it's planting another little trust seed, isn't it?
It is. It is. I
I
mean,
like
look
that. I'm going to
at
keep
us.
that.
I'm aware, I was aware of what you did long before I interacted with you really at all because I was following your content.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
fun. And I love your you have a lot of fun with your content.
I do.
That's one of the things that stands out to me. I was so excited to come on your show because I knew it would be fun. From seeing your content, which is
It's interesting though, because it's always a delicate balance between being fun, but also showing to people, actually, I do know what I'm talking about. I'm not just having a laugh here. And as you said, we're here and we're enjoying ourselves, but actually at the end of the day, we need to make money out of this. And that's what we're doing. And, I'm working now with, quite big corporates and big companies, and they love having a bit of fun. And there is a stat, which I can't remember, about how people learn better when they're happy. So if I can create everybody smiling in the room and then teach them something, hopefully it'll go in more easily.
Yes, I agree with you. And it's funny because I often think of someone who I met. She's actually in London. She's a communications coach. And I met her on TikTok. I kind of ran into her on TikTok, started following her on LinkedIn. She was on my show, and she is very most of her a lot of her content is videos, but she is very, very humorous, but teaching. And if I could just share briefly one thing that stands out, the movie Love Actually, she did a little spin-off on that over the holidays. And the whole thing, she set up the thing and she was showing all the cards and everything. And the last bit was, you didn't need those last 10 slides on your PowerPoint. And then the next thing she holds up is nobody did. And then she puts it down enough. She turns off the radio and she leaves. And that is such a fabulous moment, teaching moment, lesson, but fun and memorable.
Yes, and that's the really important thing, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of content on LinkedIn, isn't there? There's a lot. My feed just keeps on growing and growing, as I'm sure does everybody else's. And it is getting harder to stand out and get people to stop that scroll.
It is. And, again, with LinkedIn, they have tons of stats on all of this stuff. And they say that images with people, not necessarily, even if it's stock images, but you have to brand those, but really more real, I think it's like 11 times more engagement to stop that scroll. And I would say, hence, that's the reason we see a lot of selfies, which I'm kind of like, I don't know. Look, I know some people, every single post that they do is a selfie of them, often not relate, and it's like just of them, often not related to anything but, them. And I think that that's because selfies do get a lot of engagement, but to me, that's almost like a, clickbait in an article, with a hook on a video. So what do you think about that?
So I get what you're saying, absolutely. And when I started posting on LinkedIn, I wasn't really using selfies very much. I was like, well, who wants to look at this, And occasionally I would. And then I noticed quite quickly that if I had my face on an image,
Mhm.
it would get more engagement. So I thought, right, let's just embrace this and go with it. But interesting, because what I do try to do, and so I'm not necessarily always successful, but I do try to match the expression on my face with the message that I'm creating in the post. So if it's a serious message, I do try to have a vaguely serious picture of me. But what I've noticed works really well, and I'm trying not to use too many of these, is photographs of me very, very close up, pulling a silly face.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
And
why not?
when I was talking about the selfies, you were not one of the people that I had in mind. Definitely not one of the people. But no, I hear that. Yeah, I think it's maybe because it's different. And I used to do more things like that. I'm trying to get back into having a little bit more fun with my video. When I first started doing video, I was just terrified. I hated my face. I still don't like to see myself on video. I hate the sound of my voice, but I took some training. Actually, I told you I did some training with a coach, which helped me. And I found that after doing it, I don't see myself anymore. I really don't see myself anymore. I still don't have like pictures of me around the house. I don't like that, but I have started to use them more and I find that as well. But again, your posts are always valuable. I'm talking about the selfie with the like nothing.
I'm with you. Yeah, no, I'm absolutely with you. Yes, no. Those posts are, I find them a bit frustrating. It's why bother? What's the meaning here? Why would you do this? So
Look at me, look at me.
yeah, it is very much look at me, isn't it? Yeah. Now I'm just going to pause because we had this a comment. Somebody put this. I think this was when we were talking about our secrets, and somebody's put the emoji with the zip
Oh,
mouth,
thank you.
which I thought was very sweet. Unfortunately, we can't see their name, so I think they must have clicked through my banner to get here, because I think that precludes them being able to show their name. But yeah, thank you for that. But if you are here, and I can't see how many people are here because unfortunately StreamYard doesn't give you that facility, please come and say hi to Annette or myself. And if you have any questions or comments, please use the chat and say hello in the chat and put them in there, and we'll try and answer them. So I want to move on to something I've seen on your profile appear fairly recently: top content development voice. Ooh.
Oh, doesn't that sound so impressive?
I know, and I want to ask you. So I know what it means, because
I know.
But I get asked a lot about whether it's worth doing this. I'm just going to pause. It's Dan Curtis. He had this problem last week. I don't quite know why. Poor Dan. LinkedIn doesn't want to show his name. Hello, Dan. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining.
It looks like he has his profile image set to contacts only instead of to everyone, because then you don't see it on the third party.
Okay.
If you
Dan?
have it set to so it's like if I went to his profile, we're not connected, I would not see his image. He's on this third party, so it's not seen. Anyway, that's my experience with people having that problem if they're not showing up in the comments.
Dan, if you need any more help with that, you know where Annette is. Go and find her on LinkedIn and send her a DM. I'm sure she'll help you. If not, I will.
Sarah can help you as well.
Yeah, we can. Let's talk about these top voices, because there are two top voice categories, I suppose, on LinkedIn, aren't there?
Yes.
And there was the original top voice category, which you got, and that's a permanent thing. And LinkedIn used to award these to people who I think they liked their content, or they thought their content was meaningful. I'm really not quite sure.
Nobody knows.
No, even the people who've got them. I have spoken to a few people who've got them, like Niraj. He sort of woke up one morning and there it was. But the one that you have at the moment is a temporary one, isn't it? I think they last for 3 months. So talk to me about this.
So yeah, I'm not sure, and I think the top voice ones that LinkedIn awards with the blue, I think those are only good for a year or two. I don't think they're forever, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah,
But now, obviously, I know Niraj as well, and he shares great content.
yeah.
Um, but I do look at sometimes when I see those, I wonder if they're pulling the names out of a hat, and I just really, because there is no rhyme or reason. I don't think anybody knows where those come from, because some are fabulous, some not as much. So those yellow badges, so as you know, they come from commenting on collaborative articles. Now, collaborative articles have been out over a year now, and they were invitation only beta at the beginning, and you have to respond. I think they last, I'm not sure if it's 60 days or 90 days, but they're not long lasting, although mine
No,
has been up there for a while. And you get them by responding to collaborative articles, which are AI generated articles on LinkedIn that people like us can comment on. And if you comment on, I think it's like maybe 2 articles, 3 comments on each, or there's some kind of a number. Like you can't just go and say, comment on one and comment on another. Anyway, if you do that and people seem to like what you post, they like it or respond to you, they will award you the yellow top, whatever it is, a community badge. Now, I do that for a couple of reasons. One, because people look at it, they go, "Oh, look at that. Oh, she must know something." Okay, and I think it does show a little bit of demonstration of, you are sharing your expertise. But the thing is that most people, I think, when they see it or they get an email to contribute, it's not something that's in their area. It's something like they may ask me, because I worked in career for a long time, to be giving, comments on resumes or something, which is not something that I want to be known for right now. But they do have a searchable database, and that's how I do it. LinkedIn has a searchable database, so you can go there and look for, like, I go in, I have bookmarked content marketing, content strategy. So I can go right there and comment on articles that are in the area that I want to be known for. And so I do that because I can do it without spending a lot of time. And those are one thing that are seen on your profile if you're not logged into LinkedIn. So if I'm not logged in and I look at your profile, or you look at my profile, you see my comments on my profile.
Great. Yeah. So there, and it's interesting because as I say, I decided to, myself recently, I was going to get one of these badges, and I commented on a load of these collaborative articles, and ping, there it was.
Yep.
And then more recently, I tried again, and I didn't get the collaborative articles badge. But hey ho, it's one of those things. But yeah, I do think it does look quite cool on somebody's profile. So, and it didn't take you very long. You know what you're talking about. So yeah, why not?
Well,
Absolutely.
I think that's the key, to go to the database, and then you just go for what you want, and you're done.
Yes, because and as you say, we get targeted from LinkedIn to say, do you want to collaborate on this article? Or do you want to add to this collaborative article rather? And often they're not relevant at all. And it's like, well, no, I don't really want to talk about CVs or employment or something like that or whatever. So no, that's good. I think mine was for branding, I think, which obviously, that's right. That's the right kind of thing for me. But for those people who don't know, if you get these messages from LinkedIn saying, would you like to comment on this collaborative article? Why not? If it's in your area and in your sector, then yeah, I don't see why not. Now, obviously, we can't have Annette Richmond on a live without talking about her dogs. So you've got these beautiful pictures behind you, which I think, I've seen them before. They're gorgeous.
Yes, so these are the pictures behind me, are not our dogs. But we do have 2 dogs. My company is named for the dogs, and you can see pictures of them on my company page. We have 2 black lab mixes. But these dogs are something, and I'm sure you are familiar with this. I used a virtual background for a long time. because I thought, oh, virtual background and blah, blah, blah. And then I spoke with someone, a speaker I had on my show who mentioned to me that virtual backgrounds can be off-putting to someone if you're on something with them because they want to see you, they want to see your environment, they want to see that. And so therefore now, not that they can't be very useful in some situations, but mainly if you're talking to someone for on a live, people want to see, they want to know where you are, know something
Mm.
about you. And so I decided not to do that. And I went to a store. It's sort of it's called Home Goods. It's sort of one of those, they get a lot of things that they sell and they're a little bit discounted, but they have all kinds of really cool things. And I saw these two pictures and I was like, oh, I don't know if those are too much, but I like them. And so I got them and I put them up on the wall behind me, and I get more people talking about them. People that remember me for the colorful dogs, and it makes me smile when I see them. So that's like the added bonus. But dogs are kind of part of my brand with our dogs. I mean, I recently shared a video of one of our dogs listening to my podcast on the Alexa app. We're listening to that. So, try to use it that way.
I love that, and I love how you've obviously the name of your company is dog related, and you've incorporated them into your branding, and that those images of those dogs are very, very powerful, and I think this is all about creating a consistent brand which you will use over and over and over, and having something to help people remember you. So in terms of, well, for me it's the purple and orange, and everything I wear and do is purple and orange, and that's how people will remember me. And I think it's a good idea to have something that people can kind of hold on to, as you say. And it definitely works. And I think with dogs as well, I mean, that must have helped. Do you think using the dogs has helped you in terms of visibility on LinkedIn?
I'm not sure, but I feel like there's something that is a bit of my personal life. And I just have to say that I think your branding is brilliant. I really do. I absolutely love it. It's so memorable. But I think, and one of the things that I think we all think about posting on LinkedIn, the professional posts, the personal posts, and then there's the things that I would consider to be private. I don't know who said that originally. I heard somebody say professional, personal, and private. I am not one to be, very share private on social media. Um, but the personal is, I think, having the dogs helps people to get to know me. And I know other people by their dogs. I know people that have dogs. I know a buddy of mine, Marion, who's a high level search person. He shares pictures of his dogs. I know his dogs. I love to see the pictures of his dogs. My friend Brenda Meller, I know her. I feel like I know her dog, Pepper. We both have black lab mixie dogs. And so, I think that kind of, I don't know, just shares a bit of personality.
Absolutely, it does. I think it's great. And also, it gives it's a commonality as well. So, and it's a very easy conversation starter, isn't it? So
Yes.
I'm all about easing the relationship journey, if you like, and making it as easy for people as possible. And if you've got something in your profile or that's kind of synonymous with you, that people can just start that conversation, that's great, because it's going
Oh,
to make everybody feel at ease.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. Those, those common things. And, who doesn't like dogs? I mean, that's one of the reasons it was at a suggestion. I was in a marketing membership group, and that's one of the reasons I added the paw prints to my name. Somebody's like, oh, why don't you do that? Because now, I added that because LinkedIn doesn't seem to be as strict about that anymore. Like they don't want
Yeah.
you using their name, but the emoji or something at the end of your name is not, I don't think people get banned for that anymore. Um,
No, I know people who, obviously, I think we both know people who have. But also, I think having the emoji there does help weed out spam messages, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm still stunned. I'm still stunned by the amount of messages that I get. Is sometimes snarky if I don't respond, the pitch slap that we're all familiar with. I have people sending me, messages. Oh, it's time for me to update your resume. Well, no, not really, because I did that for years. I could do that
I don't
myself.
do that anymore. Yeah, did
You
you do your
know, and
homework?
it's just but I'm sure you get that too. "Oh, Sarah, I can boost you on LinkedIn." Like, "Yes, okay.
All the
Bring it
time.
on, let me hire you."
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Lead generation, lead generation. No, thank
Oh,
you.
yes. Oh my gosh.
I had a great one at the weekend, actually. I posted about it, about some guy sent me a connection request and how are you today? It was very nicely written. Um, and I replied that I was watching the tennis, which I was. I was watching the men's final, Wimbledon, which was amazing. I'm watching the Wimbledon final. Yeah, having a nice time. How are you? And the reply came back, good, with no punctuation or capitalization or anything like that, which is possibly what annoyed me the most. But it was good. Where are you and how old are you?
Yeah, I know, I know, I know. I got a string of those for a while from, like, fake accounts that were like they were all sheiks of somewhere, sheiks
Yeah,
in Saudi Arabia or something, hello, and I find that really creepy because it's kind of a public place.
yeah.
It's so cringy, but I don't know. I guess it's like any other kind of spam. People must, I guess some people must respond and say, "Oh, I'm here. Why don't we get together for, cocktails or
I
something?"
just can't see it. I really can't. And I do wonder why people waste their time and their money doing all of these things. But hey ho, it's their life, I guess. And I've just looked at the clock. We are just over time, but hey ho. And we have one more question.
Okay.
um, I love these live shows, but gosh, they go so fast,
I
don't they?
know they do. They do, especially when it's fun. It's.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have to say, I have never run my B2B live lounge and sat there thinking, oh, I hope this ends soon. I've always get to the end and go, wow,
Yeah.
that was speedy, speedy by. Um, so, final question, which I ask everybody who comes on my B2B live lounge is, can you give 3 takeaway tips for our audience? So whether they're listening on the podcast or whether they're watching live or they're watching the live on the replay, can you give 3 takeaway tips? I'm guessing let's focus it on content on LinkedIn so that they can actually take away and do today.
Okay. So my first one, not surprising, is to do video. And as I mentioned, according to LinkedIn, video is 5 times more likely to start a conversation than any other type of content. Now, and people prefer snackable bites. That's according to LinkedIn stats. So I would say to do video. And I know if you're nervous and you're afraid to do it, record it on your phone. Don't show anybody. Do that a few times once you get comfortable and realize, I know you'll back me up on this. If you post a video and you have 5,000 followers or 50,000 followers, very few people are going to see it anyway because there's so much content out there. So that's my first tip, to do video, because it's really, I think, very important. Second one is write an article, because articles are the way to demonstrate your thought leadership. They are a way to have long form content. They are indexed by Google. So if you write an article, Sarah, about LinkedIn, and I'm looking on searching for LinkedIn tips, maybe your article pops up and I find you that way. And it's also something you can break up into little bites of other content. And the third one is to repurpose content that you already have. So if you have a long article, break that up, create a little video of it, create a little carousel of it. If you have a lot of people have like ebooks and studies and things, create some content from that. So that's my third tip.
Amazing. What great advice. So I'm going to tell you a little story about video, my first ever video that I created.
Okay.
So it was my second ever post on LinkedIn. Why I thought I'd go on video, I have no idea. I mean, I had been doing video on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, as was then. So I thought, well, I'll just do it on LinkedIn. Why not? Won't take me long. Anyway, because it was LinkedIn, I had a different mindset, which most people do because they think it's very businessy and what have you, and people get very nervous. So I was there recording this video. It took me all day to record. And when I finally chose a take, because I didn't know how to edit in those days, so it had to be a one taker, and I posted it, and I felt physically sick when I posted it.
Oh.
And I sat there and I pressed the post button, and guess what happened, Annette?
People loved it.
Well, nothing.
Oh, nothing. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Nothing really happened. Nothing, the world didn't blow up. I didn't get kicked off LinkedIn, and probably about 20 people saw it. And actually, it got some really good engagement. It took a while to get going, if I remember. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh, nobody liked my video. And then somebody commented, and then somebody else commented, and da. And it was like, oh, actually, that wasn't so bad. I can do that again.
It's so fabulous. And I think I know people who are very knowledgeable in their area, and they don't post content on LinkedIn because they're afraid of people. So-and-so is going to see this and they're going to, comment something nasty, or it's not going to meet their expectations. And, you have to think of it, first of all, like the pyramid. I, I, I am not up here, but maybe I'm here, and maybe my content will help people here in the pyramid.
Oh, I like that.
And so, and another thing is, people are most people are nice. Most people are supportive. They're rooting for you to succeed. They're not scrolling. Most people are not scrolling LinkedIn and saying, oh, let me look for something. And if they do comment on something nasty, you can just remove it and move on with your life.
Yeah. Block them, move on. Who cares? Yeah. It's their problem, not yours.
Yep.
So, 3 great tips from Annette Richmond. One is use video because it apparently encourages 5 times more conversation than other content, which I love.
So LinkedIn says.
Well, we've got to believe LinkedIn, haven't we? I love that. And also it shows you as who you are, and it helps people get to know you, doesn't it? Because you're there.
It can't be stolen. You can't plagiarize somebody's video.
I've never thought of that, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, well done. Good one. And the second one is to write articles. Now, would you say articles, or would you put them into a newsletter? What would you say would be the best?
I am a fan of the newsletter because, as you know, when you start the newsletter, your first article, make it your best, goes out to all of your followers, all of your contents. And after that, every time you which it encourages people to subscribe. After that, every time you post an article in your newsletter, everyone who subscribes gets an email about it. And now LinkedIn, I recently, and I'm sure you're aware of this, if someone follows you, if I start following you today and you have a LinkedIn and you have a newsletter, it says, oh, hey, Sarah has a newsletter. Do you want to subscribe? So you can get those subscribers that way. So yes, I am a huge fan of doing the newsletter, but some people they're like, well, I don't know if I can commit, to doing it.
Yeah, you need to be able to guarantee that you're going to post in that newsletter probably once a month at least ish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the third tip is to repurpose content. Now, I love that. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time we want to make a post, do we?
No. And use that content on other platforms too, and people talk about, well, LinkedIn isn't Facebook, which is just so, we're not hearing as much of that anymore. But I see a lot of people, I started doing it myself. I take something I've created in a portrait and share it on LinkedIn. I share it on TikTok, and then I put it on LinkedIn. Maybe not all the same day, but you can rotate because you have different people on different platforms following you, connected with you.
And what's your view on, let's say you'd created a post 6 months ago and it did really well, on repurposing that exact post?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I know people that do it. I do it. Who remembers? Who remembers, if you saw my post 6 months ago, and I certainly do that with videos that I pull them out and pop them up again because, months ago, who remembers who even saw it in the first place?
Yeah,
What about you?
exactly. Yeah, well, I don't do it enough. I need to do it more because, and when I have done it, it's a different audience anyway. The likelihood is it's different people because I've got new followers and it's just in a different place on LinkedIn, etc. But also, I think it goes back to the sort of the touch points and remembering things. And I don't know about you, Annette, but I need to read something at least 5 times or see something at least 5 times before it actually goes in. It's got to get through this lot first, and then it goes in. So. And I always use the analogy of TV commercials, for example, or a piece of music. When you're listening to the radio and a song that comes on, it's great, isn't it? It's a really nice feeling because you know it and it's comfy and you can sing along and it makes you feel nice. So
Oh, for
why
sure.
not?
Yeah.
Let's go for it. So finally, Annette, last question is, where can we find you?
Well, LinkedIn for sure. Like you, I may not be posting every single day, but I don't think a day goes by that I'm not on there, looking around. So please do contact me. My name, Annette Richmond, mention Sarah's show, and I'm happy to connect with you.
Brilliant. Annette, it's been so wonderful chatting with you. I could stay here all afternoon, actually, and we could just jam together.
I know. It's been such a treat. As I told you, I've really, really I was so excited when you sent me the invitation, and I've been so looking forward to this. So, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Annette Richmond, content expertise on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for being in my B2B Live Lounge. Final announcement, the Live Lounge is taking a holiday until September. So there will be no B2B Live Lounge. We will be back the first Thursday in September, 3:00 British. Well, we will still be on British summertime then. So we'll be back then. So we're taking a little holiday, but look out for the podcast because that's coming out soon. Annette, thank you so much. I'm going to play us out with a little bit of music and we can dance if we wish.
Okay.